Hey guys, this is a trip down the rabbit hole. Hey guys, so disclaimer, this video will not exactly be suitable for children or sensitive persons. So if you qualify as one of those things, please do not continue to watch this video. If you do, I am not to be held responsible if you do not like the content. That being said, I want to talk a little bit about relationships. Specifically monogamy versus polyamory. So this might end up being a long video, so be prepared to go down this trip with me. Because I'm going to be sorting through my thoughts as I say them. This is not scripted at all. So here goes nothing. So for the majority of, not even the majority, maybe about half of the time that I've been dating, which I started dating when I was 16, and I'm 25 now, gonna be 26 soon, about half that time I've been pretty much monogamous. And monogamy has its merits. It is nice to know that, you know, you're the only person in somebody's life that means as much to them as you do. It's nice to feel like you completely satisfy your partner. It's nice. But to me, it's not practical. I, for one, am a complicated person. And I have a lot of needs and wants that can't really be met by just one person. That being said, I crave new experiences sexually. So I crave the thrill of getting to know somebody and going through that process, and the first kiss, the first touch, the first everything with a new person. Clearly, if you're with just one person, you can't experience that new thing because you've already done it. You can only do it once per person. So you can't get that. On top of that, no one person does, or no two people, I mean, do any one thing the exact same way. So let's say one person's really good at just standard vanilla everyday sex. Another person's really good at more kinky BDSM sex. Another person's better for talking to about things. Another person's better for being submissive. Another person's better for being dominant. So there's all these different facets of a person that need to be satisfied. And a lot of times you can't find that with just one person. So for somebody like me, polyamory and open relationships are pretty much the only way that I'm not going to lose my mind in a relationship. I've learned this recently because I was having, and he doesn't know this yet, so I'm sorry if this is how he finds out, but I was having doubts about the monogamous part of my relationship with Chris because I told him I would be monogamous for him. And granted, he broke up with me before I had a chance to bring that up. It was something that was weighing really heavily on my mind, and it felt very wrong to me. It didn't sit well. When I was with William, we had an open relationship. Since William, I've been either single or in open relationships. Previously to William, I was single or in open relationships off and on. So it's been something that I've been doing for many years at this point. And I don't think I can go back to monogamy. So that's my reason for wanting to be polyamorous. Now I'm going to talk more about how to be successfully polyamorous, in my opinion. So one of the big things is negotiation. Coming up with an informal kind of contractual agreement for what is and is not appropriate within the scope of your relationship with whomever you're in. A relationship. Sorry, I didn't finish that sentence. So I guess the main important thing is you sit down with the people you're in a relationship with and you talk to them. You ask them where the boundaries are, what they're okay with. You get everything sorted out in advance before a situation arises. And you come to an agreement. Once you come to that agreement, you must honor it. You must communicate if something comes up that makes you question your agreement. You have to communicate if a situation arises and you're not sure if it's okay within the agreement. And you always have to be super, super open and honest. There has to be a dialectic conversation at all times. Otherwise, you get into the realm of cheating. So a lot of people would say being polyamorous is cheating in the first place, but it's not. To us, to polyamorous people, or at least the ones that I've spoken to thus far, it's not cheating if you're with somebody else, as long as it's within the confines of your agreement with each other. If you have agreed that it's perfectly fine for you to go out and have sex with other people, then it is perfectly fine for you to go out and have sex with other people. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's nothing to be ashamed about. There's nothing to be questioning about. All you have to do is keep to your agreement. And if at any point something bothers you or feels wrong, you talk about it. You keep a level head. You go into it with an open heart and an open mind, and you have a legitimate conversation. Polyamory is only for mature adults. If you can't handle that, you need to reassess being polyamorous. There's no room for jealousy. There's no room for possessiveness. It has to be open. It has to be dialectic. And that's just the way I feel about it. I'm sure other people could have other opinions, and those opinions are perfectly valid. Those are things they need to discuss with their partner, not with me. So, hang on. There was somewhere else I was going to go with that. Thinking. I honestly can't remember now, guys. I was on a roll, too. I might cut this out so that you're not just watching me think for like 2 minutes. Oh, I remember. Again, with being polyamorous, there's another thing that you have to keep in mind. Safety. You need to be safe at all times. Use contraception. Use condoms. Be open and honest with all your partners about your health history. Not just sexually transmitted disease history, but also your actual health history, like if you have heart murmurs or if you have a lung problem, that kind of thing, so that your partners know to look out for signs and symptoms and whatnot. But again, when it comes to STDs, you need to keep up to date on whether or not you're positive for anything. If you are, you must be open and honest with all your partners about it. If you're with good people, they are not going to care if you find that out. It might worry them, it might concern them, but they're not going to be assholes to you about it if they truly care about who you are. If they are assholes to you about it, you need to get out of that relationship immediately, because it's not a healthy relationship. That being said, if you do have an STD that stays with you forever, such as herpes, let your partners know prior to sexual contact. Herpes really isn't a big deal. I know that sounds like a stupid thing to say. An STD is not a big deal. But all things considered, for one thing, it's not going to kill you. For two, outbreaks, they're uncomfortable, but they're not that bad. For three, it's very treatable. It's not curable, but it's very treatable. And 4, it doesn't really affect what you can and cannot do unless you have an outbreak. It's pretty contagious. You can transmit it even when you don't have an outbreak. But it's really not as big of a deal as a lot of people make it out to be. It's very stigmatized, which needs to stop because over 80% of the population has herpes simplex virus in one form or another. There are 2 forms of the virus, type 1 and type 2. But at any rate, it's not something to be really concerned about. Like I said, it's not going to kill you. That being said, it is dangerous for infants. So if you have herpes and you're a female, do not give birth vaginally because your child could catch herpes. And for infants, like I said, it is dangerous. It can kill them. And if you have herpes and you're around kids a lot, try not to kiss them on the mouth. That could give them cold sores if you have cold sores. And obviously you shouldn't fucking be having sex with infants, so don't do that. I do not condone pedophilia, especially with infants. Oh my goodness. But anyway, that's the one place where I'm going to be judgmental. I cannot wrap my head around doing that to a child ever. But I think I've covered pretty much everything I wanted to say. I'm vastly sorry that this was such a long video, but I think it's important for people to get a perspective like this that may not have it, or are thinking about polyamory but are either ashamed of it, or think it's something wrong, or don't know how to approach it. If you're in that place, please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help you work through some things. But until then, this has been a trip down the rabbit hole with Annie Eubank, and keep smiling.